Well, there's a couple different experiences with P90s that have forged my opinions over the years. I remember specifically sitting in on a buddy of mine's rig back home. He would always play a Les Paul Jr. through an old blonde Fender Bassman amp, and that combination wrecked my mind. I was like, this is the greatest sounding thing of all time. A few years ago, I was going to buy this 55 Les Paul, and it was a refin to this cool cherry red, and it had P90s in it. It sounded unbelievable. But the problem was with the guitar is that it was so loud with the buzz whenever I added any kind of gain that I thought to myself, I'm going to spend all this loot on this guitar and I'm never going to use this damn thing except for in my house. So that was one of the things where it's like, oh man, if we could capture the tone of these pickups, the vibe and the look, I mean, let's not get away from the fact they look cool as hell, right? I wanted to be able to do that and mitigate the noise. And I knew that we could do it because we had done it with the other Fluence pickups. The sound I was going for was a neck pickup that did this buttery, glassy with girth tone. And the bridge pickup would do this honky, girthsome thing. Both when it was clean, it would have this kind of honky characteristic that just didn't sound like a regular traditional single coil clean sound. And then when you added overdrive to it, it was something that you immediately knew was unique, right? So that's the sound we were going for. I wanted what I construed as the epitome of what a P90 neck pickup would be for me, which would be velvety glass. So a more girthsome version of a single coil pickup that has this velvety nature to it. Still very touch sensitive and so that sound right there, I could just spend hours there, to be honest with you. It's just got more girth. So now, just for kicks and giggles, let's hear what voice 2 sounds like. So with Fluence pickups, what I want you to imagine that's happening here is that we're not adding something to the first sound. It's almost as if like a AI gremlin is coming in and instantaneously taking these pickups out and putting new pickups in to give you something, in this case, that's a little bit hotter and it's got a little bit more punch in the mid-range. Okay, so if I'm on neck pickup, and I pop this up, this is voice 2. Again, before. Voice 2. What's really cool is that we've added a third voice onto these pickups. It's more of a single coil sound that would be non-P90. So it's going to be a little bit more glassy and not quite as robust on the low end, but it's more of a traditional single coil sound. I'm going to do an example of the 3 different sounds: voice 1, voice 2, and voice 3 on the neck pickup. Let's add a little heat to that equation. Let's see what we got. Okay, folks, let's talk a little bit about the bridge pickup. For me, a bridge pickup on a P90 set should have a certain honk to it. Again, it's a more girthsome sounding single coil, but it also has a tonal characteristic that gives you this slight honk that I think you'll hear when I play. I'm gonna do a little thing for you where I'm gonna go between voice 1, voice 2, which again, imagine we're popping out one pickup and putting another one in. That's gonna be a little bit overwound and maybe a little bit more mid-range punch. And then the third is going to be something that's actually more like a traditional smaller coil, single coil, for lack of a better term. Okay, here we go. I'll play all three and then I'll add some heat, okay? Here's clean. Okay, folks, I want to show you what this middle position sounds like. Again, we have three different levels of P90 glory. So let's just check it out here. Voice 1, voice 2. And voice 3. Now I'm going to do that same thing with some heat. If you're using pedals to get your overdrive, and if you go down on a volume on a traditional P90, it's going to get muddy in a hurry. And if you're using an amp like a deluxe or something where you're diming it, then you can have the volume full up, and when you turn it down, you're not going to lose any highs. But most people aren't in those situations. They're usually either preamp distortion or they're using some kind of a foot pedal. This comes in handy. What I would always do on my traditional instruments is I would put a resistor cap. I wouldn't do it personally because I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I would have somebody do it for me so when I turn down the volume, I don't lose any highs. This is something that the Fluence pickups do automatically. So on voice 1, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put both the clean boost and the overdrive on, and I'm going to turn the volume down on the neck pickup. the idea. Totally usable. Should check out my Fishman Fluence Gristle-Tone P90s. They're gonna rock your brain.